Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of this DIY fingerboarding ramp build. So what we're going to be making today is called an A-frame. It's going to look like this mainly, right? It's called an A-frame because of this like angle at the top, right? So it kind of looks like the letter A. But anyway, it's a common obstacle. You'll probably see at a lot of skate parks. Some don't have this like rail thing, but I added one and you guys could too. It's pretty fun. It's mainly a street obstacle you'd call it, but yeah. So we're gonna make one out of mainly a shoebox, and I noticed some of you guys don't have shoe boxes, which is okay because you can pretty much make the same thing out of a regular box, and I can demonstrate that as well. So okay, first step, make sure you have all your materials, right? You're gonna need scissors, some tape. I use Scotch tape for the shoebox, and it's actually worked totally fine. You might need stronger tape for like a regular cardboard box, and yeah, your box. That's it. So, all right, first thing I did was I basically started by unfolding the box because we're gonna have to do some drawing. That's right. Yes, you also need like a pencil or like a pen because we're gonna have to draw a few lines to mark where we're gonna be cutting. And to make that easier, we're gonna start by taking apart the box. So I'm gonna just flatten it out. Most of these edges too, right? Just about everything that you can. Just to make it easier for us. All right, so now you should have this flattened out thing. All right, so the first step is going to be we're going to take one side of the box, right? So we have this flat end, right? That's going to be the base, right? Just the bottom of the box. This is a smaller shoe box, but that's going to be the base, right? And so if you put it back a little bit, right, these two edges, these two faces are going to be what's going to make the ramp, right, in the side view. And here's what we're going to do. And if you have a regular box too, you can flatten that one out, right, like that. And okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our, oh yeah, wait, my bad. You also need a straight edge. I didn't mention that before, but you need a straight edge, right? Because we're going to be drawing a line. All right. So make sure you guys have all that. Let's see. All right. Make sure you guys have a straight edge, right? And you're going to get your drawing utensil, pencil, pen, doesn't matter. And what you're going to do is we're going to try and find the center of this box, of this face right here, right? And to do that, we're going to draw a line, right? Going from one corner to the other, right? So I'm going to take my straight edge and I'm going to try and line it up like this. And it's okay if it doesn't actually reach all the way to the end. You can estimate it pretty much. You can kind of like try to figure out where it finishes just by looking at it. But you want to have at the right angle so that this corner is going to line up with this corner. And we're going to do the same thing for this side. So I'm going to draw one real quick and then you guys can check it out. Actually, wait. My bad. We're going to do it on this face. My bad. It's confusing me. Okay. Yeah, we're going to take this face. My bad. So you see this? Oh, this is the base. We got to draw it on the side. So here. Me. Okay, it's a little sketchy, but if you can see, I drew the lines here and here, right? And so now, right, where they touch basically, where the lines you call it intersecting, where they intersect, that's going to be the center. And so if you flip your box over like this, right, you can see that we have the base down here, right? We got the side. And what we're going to end up doing is we're going to cut up here, right? And if we cut all that away, right, this top half, and we have this triangle, that's going to become this part. So real quick, you might want to just do that to the opposite edge, right? So we have it on both sides, right? So you're going to have it like this, and you're just going to turn it over. And we're going to do the same thing on this face. All right. So now you should have this X sort of shape, right? We drew these lines from corner to corner, found the center, right? You should have this X on both sides of the box, like that. Right? You can ignore this middle one. I drew that earlier. But if you have like a regular box, what I would do is I would draw the X's up here and down here, right? Because what's going to happen is you're going to do the same thing basically, but it's just going to look like that, you know? Right? You still want to use the this bottom face as the base for your ramp. Okay. Sorry if this is confusing. I'm just trying to alternate between a shoe box and a regular box just so I can help everyone in case, because I know they're not, you know, the same exactly. All right, cool. If you can start to visualize how the ramp is going to look, right? We're going to use the bottom face as the base, right? So just like that. And we're going to cut up here and down here, right? We're going to make that sort of triangle shape that comes and turns into this ramp. So we can start doing that now. And it doesn't have to be perfect, like. Okay. All right, I'm just cutting all the way through to make it easier. So that when I do this next cut, cut the flap off. Right? So now I should have this like triangle, right? I'm going to do the same thing for this side. And here, if you're using one of these boxes and you want to start doing that cut, right? Just remember, this is the base. So we're going to turn it like this, right? And you can start to see how the ramp's going to look. So you can take your scissors and you can start cutting out that same triangle. Cardboard's a little harder to cut with scissors, but you can still do it. All right, cool. It's gone. Just gonna do the same thing on the shoebox. Okay. So for the shoebox, you should have something that looks like this now, right? Two triangles that are more or less the same, right? And then on this box, you should have something that looks like this, right? You can start to see where this is going. All right. All right, so next step, right? Also, you might notice now that you have this lid, right? You cut this off. This is what's going to become the ramp part, right? So you can see on this one, this is the top, right? This is the surface of the ramp, and I use the lid to sort of make that. Let me see. All right. All right, sick. It's looking good. All right. Now, next step. What you can do with this now is you can take these ends, right? What we're gonna do is now you're gonna grab your tape. Yeah, these are looking great. So you're gonna grab your tape and you're gonna push these ends, right? These triangles in a little bit so that when you you're gonna fold these flaps into it, but you wanna make sure that the flaps are kind of braced on top of it, right? You don't want it to be inside because then it's gonna like move around more. So you're gonna push these ends just a little bit in so that this flap would be sitting on top of it. And you can grab just a few pieces of tape for that. All right, I'm just gonna put one here. All right, so now I've started to make sort of the frame for the A-frame. And we're gonna do the same thing for the other side. All right, and so if you have one of these, what you can do first to make this easier for you is to cut the top part off. All right, and that's gonna be the ramp really. So we can start by cutting that.
Hey, Simon, I think your mute went on.
All
right, there we go. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Sorry guys, I did not realize that mute was on, but Anyway, so for the cardboard box, right, I basically cut all the extra flaps off. So now you would have this, which is almost the same thing as this, right? If these ends are a little long, you can just snip them a bit. You can eyeball that because, you know, it's not even going to be the ramp part. This is just sort of the support for the ramp. So they don't have to be perfect. Okay. But if you have the shoe box, right, those ends should work perfectly, right, for that. Let me just finish making this one. Okay. Right. Sorry. I'm just going to put a pause on this real quick so I can finish demonstrating how to make it for the cardboard box for whoever might be using this. Right, and it's going to be the same idea, right? Push it in a little bit so that the flap is resting on top of it and sort of supporting it and holding it up. And then you're going to tape it like that. Right, so now we have the same thing basically. This is the shoe box, the regular cardboard box. All right, so now we're going to make the ramp part. So if you have the shoe box, we're going to go back to the shoe box real quick. Right, now you see this is the lid that we cut off, and it's going to be the ramp. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut off these side pieces, right? So really, you just want this rectangle, right? So anything on the side, this flap right here, I'm just going to cut this flap off. Watch your fingers, guys. Right. And now you should have something like this. Now it really depends on the size of your box. But real quick, what we're going to do is we're going to fold this in half, right? So that it fits nicely over this A. And right, this doesn't have to be like perfect on the first try, but you just want to kind of line up each end, and then whatever fold you kind of create, you can start to correct it to the point where now they're even, right? And I really want to make a nice fold there. That way it shapes over the ramp. And you can kind of see where we're going with this. Here you go, right? And so if you have these extra flaps, right, like I said, it depends on the size of your box. But for now, I'm going to snip these off because I don't want this whole thing to be on the ramp. So I'm going to snip those flaps off. Right, so now I have this rectangle, right? Let me see where everyone's at. Nice. There you go. Yeah, that's what it's looking like. All right. And then I'm going to do the same thing. So if you have the cardboard box and you still want to start making the ramp part, right? So what we did earlier was we cut off. It should be, the ramp would be basically the opposite face of what you use for the base. So in this case, it's going to be this, right? We cut this off a while ago. So you're going to cut off these side flaps here. All right. So once you have this, right, you're going to do the same thing as we did for the shoe box. We're just going to fold this in half best we can. Just like that. Right, now you have this nice V sort of thing, right? And you guys can kind of guess the last step, right? We're going to put it over here. And that's going to be the surface of the ramp. Cardboard box is a little thick, so what I would do is I would actually kind of start bending the tip, the edge of the ramp sort of downwards. That way it's easier for like tech deck wheels to go over. You don't really need to do that for the shoe box because it's like a thinner cardboard. But yeah, some of you guys already got started with this, I saw. But what we're going to do is we're just going to tape it over now. So I'm going to grab some tape and we're just going to tape it down. What I would do actually is I would get some longer strips of tape and I would tape it along this bottom edge, right? Because that's really like going to create like sort of a lip otherwise. And so you want to sort of flatten that out by taping it. Right, and the lid's not going to be like exactly the length of this ramp. And so that's why we want to tape it over like that. So and of course, you can also add some tape on the side, right? Just for extra support. I'm just going to put one piece on each side. So there's a little more tape involved with this one than the first project. But in the end, you should end up with something like this. And that's going to be the A-frame, right? Pretty much the same thing. For this side, right? If you have the cardboard box, we're going to do the same thing. Like I said, for cardboard, you might want stronger tape than just Scotch tape. But I'm just going to do it now for the sake of showing you guys. All right, so now I've made 2 A-frames. All right. Pretty pretty much. The cardboard one's a little sketchier, but I think the shoebox works best personally, right? So now you guys should all have something that's shaped like this. Great. Let me just see where you guys are at. Oh, nice. What? You already added the rail? Great. Looks good. All right. So next, if you guys wanted to add this rail thing, some of you have already done so, but what I would do is I would take one of these corners. So one of these is already folded, right? It was part of the lid originally, but when we cut it off, it kind of makes this nice sort of angled bar shape that we're going to make, right? And so what you're going to do is you're just going to snip it. It might have these little notches on each side, so I would just cut it right before there because it really doesn't have to be long, right? There you go. And now you should have something kind of like this. And what you can do is you can grab your tape again, and you can just tape it there, somewhere on the ramp. I'm going to put it on this side, right? Cool. And there you go. We have 2 A-frames. For this one, I mean, you can really grab any sort of cardboard scrap that you might have cut out from building this, and we're gonna just fold it again. And you guys can tape the same thing, basically. Just gonna do that real quick. Yeah, for cardboard, you do want stronger tape. It's okay. It seemed to work for this thing. All right. Anyway, that should be your A-frame. Right, I've made 2. One shoebox, one cardboard box, but they're more or less constructed the same way. Let's check them out. Nice. All right, cool. Yeah, duct tape or packing tape. Nice. You're looking good. Kevin, where are you at right now? Have you? Oh, nice. The America design. You gonna add the rail up there? Anyway, I like this. The angle.
Yeah, Simon, sorry, I just unmuted myself for a second.
Yeah, no problem.
I was getting a little overly ambitious, and I thought I would put a hubba ledge on the edge, but then I realized the beauty of doing it the way Simon is showing with the angle is that it's like a really strong structure. I tried to make out of the scraps this little square because I wanted to put a ledge down the edge, but then I realized with no internal structure, it would just like sag. So then I was thinking of maybe making like an angled ledge, but more like a, you know, kind of like a wall ride ledge on the edge.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I feel like with the scraps, you have a lot of options for customizing it.
Totally.
And I think I saw some people actually did do some different customizations and stuff. Like you can do a little booster ramp, or I mean, really just whatever you can imagine, you can probably create as long as you've got enough extra cardboard and tape.
Yeah, and I like the angle too, just because, well, yeah, for one, it's a little more sturdy, but also, you know, it's easy to like kind of ride onto, right? You don't even know, you don't have to know how to like ollie or anything. Just like real skateboarding, you don't have to know how to ollie.
What's that trick called? What's that trick called, Simon, when you just ride into it like?
All right, so I guess you can call it sort of like a slappy board slide or like a wally board slide, right? So as opposed to like an ollie board slide. So if I were to like ollie, kinda, instead of just going like this, where I ride onto it.
Nice. Yeah, I think I was talking a little bit about that last week, where most of my fingerboarding tricks involve some kind of wally or slappy. So the angled approach to the ledge actually helps, because if you don't know how to jump into a trick, you can just ride up into it like Simon was just showing.
Yeah, cool. And guys, looks like any other, you know, cardboard ramp, they're pretty light. So if you find it moving around too much, just, you know, get a strip of tape. You can put it to your table. Or some of you have already had like sort of designated fingerboard spaces with like newspaper or whatever, which is awesome. So you can do that as well.
I see a lot of people still hard at work, but I wonder if now might be a good time to just go down the list and see if people want to show their creations. Nice. So we could take turns unmuting. Well, first of all, I want to thanks Simon for taking us through this. I did not rehearse ahead of time, so I was following along right with you guys. And I know with all the different boxes, it was tricky to show, but I think we all got the basic idea. And it looks like a lot of people have ended up with something similar to what we were aiming for. But really,
yeah. Sorry, I hope this wasn't too confusing. I know there's a lot more steps than last time.
I think you showed the idea, and then I think some people have just kind of ran with it.
Yeah, so, no, it's cool to see everyone else's sort of version.
Does anyone want to like wave at the camera to volunteer to show their creation first? I'd like to go around and give everyone a chance. But okay, I got my first wave over here. So Stellan, if you could just unmute for a second and we can take a look at, you can show us your creation.
Oh, you made the park. Nice. Yeah, combine it with what we made last time.
I made this last week, and I made this, and now it can go on the A-frame and then this.
Nice.
Nice.
That looks like Bob Burnquist has a ramp set up similar to that called a mega ramp. And it has a big quarter pipe behind a huge, I guess you could call it an A-frame. It's like 30 feet high, but that's awesome, Stellan. Thanks for showing us that.
All right.
All right, Stellan, if you could go back on mute, and then I see Hank, you can unmute yourself and show us what you got.
You're up.
All right.
So I forgot what I was going to say.
It's okay.
But it's really cool.
What is the, okay, yeah, you've got the A-frame with that. I see you're already doing some tricks. That's cool. Awesome. All right. Thanks for sharing, Hank. Let's see. Anyone else want to go next? Oh.
Can you see?
Oh, here. Yeah, I can see you. Hey, Cedric. Nice. You want to tell us about that?
Good. It's really sturdy.
Nice. I hope so.
Thick cardboard.
That's the benefit of that thick cardboard, right? It'll stand up to the abuse. I don't know. The cereal box was easy to make, but also probably easy to destroy after some use. But that thing looks like you could almost skate on it with a real skateboard.
Yeah, very solid.
What tricks are you gonna
do? The curvy ramp.
Yeah.
The ramp, yeah. He's going to make an emphasis.
Nice. What tricks are you gonna do on that A-frame to ledge? Got any ideas? You gonna do a slide or a grind or something?
Grind.
Grind, nice.
Grind.
Slappy crooked grind. Shove it out. Nice. Thanks for sharing, Cedric. Awesome.
All right, looks good.
Yeah. We'll put Cedric back on mute, and then let's see who's next. How about Anyone else want to volunteer to go next? I think we're looking at Remy waving a little bit. Hey, Remy, want to show us what you got there? Yeah, we can see
Oh,
it.
nice. Pretty cool.
Awesome.
That looks pretty solid. Oh, hit the slappy board. Nice.
Nice. I love how everyone actually went ahead and just put the slide on. It's the obvious next step. Once you've got a little height, the A-frame gets you up in the air, and then you might as well slide down. I gotta add on to mine. I think that'll be really fun. That's sweet.
Oh, Dada,
I wonder if you could build a little extension so you can kind of like gap up to it or something. Like almost like a Wally jam at the top. I was thinking of that. Like,
oh, that'd be pretty cool.
You know, you could just tape a little.
I feel like you can do that.
The way that Remy has his, there's a little gap between the top of the ramp and the beginning of there. If you put a little piece of cardboard there, you could slap right up into something. If you put a little piece of cardboard and you taped it there, that would be awesome. Sweet.
Well, I have I just cut out a little triangle from this. And I guess if you cut it out, it can fit.
I think we were planning to go until about 1/4 and so we're at about that time right now. So I think I'm gonna say one last thanks to Simon for presenting this. We're gonna look. Simon, what do you think? Are there any other projects we can look up to do again?
Yeah, I think I would definitely do a little research and you know, drafting. I'll try to come up with something else for next week. Thank you guys so much for joining.
Yeah,
I'm glad you guys came back for episode 2. And now we have a mixture of good street obstacles and transition. We can make a full skate park by the end of all this.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. All right, guys. So Simon's going back to the lab. Stay tuned. We'll send it out in our newsletter, you know, about next week. But I think we could probably plan on a fingerboarding lab for next Sunday, so we can keep adding to our creation. I think that could be really fun. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Everyone have a great day.
Yep.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.